All right. Stay tuned to the end of the video. You'll see why I'm laughing right now. You know, I don't always nail it just the first time. But what do we have behind us? Less than 4,200 pounds, no slides, no nonsense, all aluminum skeleton all the way around. One owner, very nicely kept Rockwood little bunkhouse camper.
Now, when this was first made, Rockwood was still offering optional Murphy beds. Like today, the floor plans that are Murphy bed floor plans are just Murphy bed floor plans. There's no other way around it. This right here, though, is a fixed 60 by 80 camp queen. So you don't have to worry about putting the bed up and down. That is, like I said, a short camp queen, by the way. Because you don't have to worry about it being a Murphy bed, if you wanted to put a longer mattress in there, you could, like a true queen bed, and still have some room to be able to walk around it. So it's true queen capable. You may want to extend the decking or something like that under the foot of the bed, though. Otherwise, it kind of feels a little bit saggy down there, as it were. But that's the original mattress. It's a heated mattress. I see the heated hand controller right there. And something that kind of surprised me about that is that when we were taking a look at it, you saw that it didn't have like human bucket shapes ground down into it. So it's not like, you know, people really wore that sucker out. I wouldn't be surprised if they really didn't use that mattress and had swapped it out at some point. You see there's some good storage around it, and I've really only located one, I think, significant ding or cabinet blemish in the RV. As far as I know, everything's in good working order. That being said, when I've recorded these RVs, basically they have just been released by the previous owners. Like they just unhooked for them from their vehicles, and I'm running out here with my camera and I'm recording. So we haven't had a chance to take it through like a full inspection at the time that I've done this. These are good questions for you to ask. Like, hey, is everything cool? This is the only significant blemish I can find here, and it looks like maybe when somebody was loading something, they must have poked and stabbed that. I actually pulled the drawer out under that dinette bench right there, making sure it wasn't a mouse house, and thankfully it was not Mickey Mouse hiding his little mouse-catools. It's a secret mouse-catool that'll help us later. Sorry. I don't even know why that's so funny to me. It's stupid. It's not even funny. Anyway. And scene focus here, Josh. Okay, up top, we have centralized air, which is really shocking in a little trailer like this, but that's Rockwood doing Rockwood things. They've been doing Rockwood things for a long time. And it is also a vaulted roof. I'm not using a tricky fisheye lens. It actually does have a vault on it, which is nice. The TV can pivot, by the way. If you want to make it face a little more toward the bed, you can. Bluetooth stereo with HDMI expansion plugs if there's extra things you want to do. And the Wi-Fi Ranger up top above that. Now, backing up a little bit here across this carpetless, ventless floor plan, we see our, full-size dinette, which has an aluminum frame, by the way. You see a free-floating table. That can fold down into a sleeper for us, and as I mentioned, we have drawers below the dinette benches instead of just doors, which is awful kind of nice right there. By the way, if I don't mention it, I've noticed in floor plans like this, sometimes we go, what, no refrigerator? No, the refrigerator is just behind the bathroom door right there, as you can see. Spinning around the other direction, the lighting package in here is nice and bright. I haven't found anything that needs like a replacement bulb or fixture or anything of that nature. This is all pocket screwed cabinetry, by the way. Everything here looking good. And those are solid surface kitchen counters. You may notice, however, a distinct lack of oven. That is actually something I really enjoyed about Rockwoods for a number of years. They allowed us to build their RVs for a long time with no ovens. Ovens were optional. And there's definitely some people who are like, man, I need my cookies and biscuits. And I get that. Biscuits and gravy are delicious, and cookies are as well, for sure. But there's a lot of folks in some areas of the country that don't worry about the oven, who would prefer just the maximized storage, which is how this one was made right here. Now, over here in the bunks, we will see the storage under the bunks when we go outside the camper. That's what those double doors are there for. But it includes a removable ladder. That's something Rockwood's been doing, for years. That still to this date, most manufacturers don't do. Now, the vaulted ceiling in here is also laminated, and that goes hand in hand with the fact that they were able to really place that skylight exactly how they wanted to, so that even at my height, at about 6'3", my head's definitely up in that shower, but I can shower in here without banging my head on stuff. You can see where they had replaced and upgraded the shower head for one of those Oxygenics jobs. Oh, I think I actually said that right. I always want to say Oxygenetics, even though that's not it. By the way, I know it looks weird when the faucet's on like the side of the sink right like that. I'm telling you, as someone who has used various camper sinks over a lot of years now, it works normal. That, by the way, is all the original shower hardware. And that's another thing that I really took as a positive sign of ownership from the previous folks. Even when they upgraded or replaced something, they didn't throw away the original stuff, which is kind of cool. Big fan, by the way.
And it's kind of interesting looking at this thing. It's almost a hybrid combination of the two exterior color palettes that are available on Rockwoods today. One being brown and one being white. That being said, this doesn't look bad to me. And it looks, interestingly, to me anyway, not dated. And that also just may be due to the fact that the previous owners really took care of this thing. I gotta believe, if they didn't store it inside, it was stored under some kind of like lean-to, or they just were incredibly good about their TLC and upkeep. Now up on the front here, you got that handy-dandy bike rack kind of situation. By the way, if you're worried about your bikes being too close to that windshield, you could always flip it the other direction. Sometimes if I don't mention things like that, some people just aren't aware of what you can do with the hardware, and maybe it'll be helpful to you. 30-pound propane tanks is also a pretty rare find here, and Rockwood only did this for about a year. That handy, like, big battery tray right there, depending on how you wanted to stack them up, or, you could set them sideways, or you could use it for, like, a little cargo spot. There was a lot of handy benefit to that right there. Now, you might notice something funny staring at us here in this pass-through compartment. That is another of the very uncommon options you rarely saw exercised on Rockwoods, although they were available for years. These little half-sliding cargo trays, very handy for getting the little stuff, like your jack crank, slid over to you. And from the other side of the pass-through, you see that, how you have plenty of room over here. It's not like it's really eating up a lot of space. And again, this is an all-aluminum structure. Something Rockwood still does today is anywhere where it's load-bearing or structural, they make it an aluminum cage. Now, I'm also interestingly noticing this, like, blue wiring run. I've never seen that from Rockwood. It looks very intentional. I don't really know what to make of that. Maybe that was factory. It doesn't look like it, but it looks like it has factory wiring run through it. Maybe the previous owner just didn't like how the wiring was run and did a thing. I'm not entirely sure. This was made before Rockwoods had adopted their standard factory solar. Back in this time, you had a little simple side mount solar prep plug, but they were at least using all LED tail and marker lights, which is pretty darn nice. So we back up here. You see, it's kind of interesting how much of today's Rockwoods are still present, like those tinted frameless windows that we have here. And this floor plan, man, it is short, it is light, it's got tandem axles, easy towing, and helping you also with the towing factor is the fact that this is not a leaf spring suspension. This is a torsion axle and suspension system. Ooh, hold on. If I see something, I say something. We got a little cracked fender flare right there. It's only cosmetic, but the wind is going to start buffeting that, and it's probably going to start getting worse over time. That reminds me. The other thing I noticed on this, and the previous owners were very forthright about this information. They weren't shifty or anything, which I like. But they said the door was actually starting to separate. And I got looking at this. They actually packed it full of sealant and cleaned it up really well. So it's not open and exposed to weather. But unfortunately, the face of that door actually had popped out of the door frame, as it were. I also noticed those speakers above that window right there. It looks like the covers that would have been on those are missing, but it doesn't look like there's anything necessarily wrong there. Something that is very right about this camper, I noticed the spare tire didn't match the rest of the RV. And that could be bad, it could be good, so I did some investigating. The spare tire is original. The other tires are not. They have a birth date on them of 27 of 20. That means that they were spanked on the butt by the tire doctor and brought into this world by the Michelin Man on the 27th week of the year 2020. So the 4 tires on the ground are virtually new, which is nice. And I did notice, as I was getting ready to climb up the ladder earlier just to inspect things, it does look like maybe they bumped something backing up, or actually what I think may have happened, you see these scuff marks on this ladder? I think they probably strapped something to that ladder, and the hurricane winds and the earthquake rumble going down the road stress that ladder. This is reason number 37. I do not recommend people put stuff on the ladder. Don't put crap on the ladder. But thankfully the ladder's function doesn't appear to be compromised, and again, this has been very well kept out here. I can see where they were doing some proactive touch-ups of the sealant. Like, you can see how some of it's a little bit lighter than the rest. That's a good thing to see, because that means that they were actually up here doing their maintenance. The antenna on the Wi-Fi Ranger it's seen better days. But there's no leaks, there's no soft spots, there's no, like, you know, roof membrane skin structural damage. It looks like maybe you can see a couple of scratches right there where maybe a tree branch scuffed this thing, but man, overall, used RV as far as roofings go, this is pretty much what you want to see right here. Hey everybody, Josh here at Haylett RV with a simple, straightforward, no slide, no nonsense,